Today, we're going to dig into deals and how you can leverage the deal section, as well as some of the new features that have been added pretty recently. They snuck in some great new features for us. But first and foremost, I want to welcome Zane Roberts to Office Hours. How are you, man?
Hey guys, hey Lee, I'm doing well. Thank you so much. The pleasure is mine, really. I'm actually a big fan of yours in the series, so I'm really excited to be here today.
Awesome. I'm excited to dig into this with you too. I think it'll be a lot of fun. And why don't you just
Yeah,
give us a little bit of background, kind of where you came from and what you do at Follow Up Boss and all that good stuff.
absolutely. So prior to Follow Up Boss, live here in Pennsylvania, South Central PA. And prior to Follow Up Boss, I actually worked for a real estate team for just shy of about 5 years. And I wore several hats under the brokerage umbrella, if you will. I started writing contracts and then moved up to doing videography and administrative tasks. I became a licensed agent myself and just really grew to fall in love with real estate. And I've been with Follow Up Boss now just shy of a year. But that transition came from when we switched our CRM to Follow Up Boss. I really fell in love with the system. Not only that, but we were a platform team, so I fell in love with the idea of the support that we had too. So many of you know Jennifer Height in our Follow Up Boss community here. She was our success manager, and I really just like the amount of support we had. And not to say that we like to be handheld, but sometimes you like to have your handheld. You know what I mean? So I really fell in love with that. And then from then on there, I moved over to Follow Up Boss and I've never looked back since. I find really so much gratification being able to come in and help real estate teams like mine that I was part of across the nation every single day. So it's super gratifying to me. And to be here is just awesome to be able to, spread that knowledge and that love, that FUB love.
That's great. I love it. So yeah, it's super exciting. I love that you have that kind of real world use of Follow Up Boss, shifting
Yeah,
into, there's a couple people on the team now that have done that, have been users, become power users, and then are like, hey, cool, look at all the great stuff we can do with this. Or, yeah, what would it look like if I could do this at scale and help a bunch of people? Um,
right.
and just to mention it right up front, I'm glad you said it, Zane. I think there's a phone number as well. We can drop it in the chat.
Yeah,
But just emailing support at Follow Up Boss. People ask me all the time too, like, hey, how did you learn all these things about the platform? And I'm like, I just used support every chance I had. Before there were even dedicated success managers or whatnot, I would just constantly hit support with like, can we do this? Are you guys going to add this? Is that going to happen?
right.
And so just living and living in it all the time is, what makes that happen. So reaching out to support is always great. If you're
Yep.
a pro or platform user, you do have a dedicated success manager, click on the question mark. There's their phone number, their calendar, all that good jazz to set that
Book
up.
a
So
call with them. Yep.
yeah, exactly. So cool. Well, Zane, before we go into screen sharing, well, first and foremost, I want to mention FUBCON because
Yep. It's
it's
right around the
rapidly
corner.
approaching. It's going to be
Hmm.
October in a couple of days. So November 8 to 10, we're going to be in Las Vegas at the wonderful Cosmopolitan Hotel. And I'm really excited about this. I'm moderating a panel on day
That's
one.
amazing. Love it.
So come say hi if you're there. Definitely flag me down, grab me. I know all the team will be there.
Yep.
I'm really excited for this. They've got a lot of power users, a lot of great things. It's a really great event. I got a sneak peek at the venue. It's pretty fantastically amazing.
Yeah,
Um,
lots of really, really great speakers coming there too. Lots of big names: Tom Ferry, Jason Pantana, Gabe Cordova, Barry Jenkins, Tristan Hamada. I mean, there's a lot of really good stuff here, and it's really client focused. So it's for you all, which is going to be great. We're going to be diving into kind of mastery of the system, leveling up your marketing. We're going to be doing, how to convert and retain clients, and then also like motivate your team as well. So it's going to be jam packed, and there's going to be a ton of value there.
awesome. I'm so excited for it. I'm even more excited that it's now weeks
I know
out.
it's so close.
So if you want to learn more, go to fubcon.com, or Caroline, you can drop a link in the chat as well if people just want to be able to click through. But really excited for this. Definitely drop us a comment in the chat or in the Facebook if you're attending, or if there's anything in particular you hope to learn or to connect with any of us. So diving into deals, I think, Zane, I remember, certainly before deals, and then for a while, deals were just kind of a more basic kind of card style Trello
Right.
Kanban, like drag and drop. It's kind of a reference. Some of the new features and things that have been added are really fantastic. So can you give us an overview of just what deals are and then some of the functionality that we're going to dig into?
Yeah, so deals, essentially, this is where we're tracking our volume, our GCI, the things that we get under contract. But we've kind of enabled that with the different stages there to be able to scale that. So it's not only from, when they're under contract, when they're closed, but we can start as soon as the buyer agency agreement is signed to all the way through post-closing there. So we're putting those in, we're adding those, and it lives in each individual lead profile as well as a reporting feature as well. So it all kind of comes together there, but allows you to very heavily track the different deals that you're getting under contract and seeing those, leads get converted into deals.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's funny. I see people use it for lots of interesting things. So people
Oh yeah.
rentals or property management or all kinds of stuff.
I have a team that's an inspection company that uses it. Insurance companies use it. There's tons of teams that are using it, yes, for their buying and selling pipelines, but for their recruiting pipelines as well. So whatever is clever, like whatever these teams can come up with, you can kind of put together and customize it to work in your favor.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're okay with it, Zane, why don't you go ahead and share your
Yeah.
screen and maybe just take a look at what's built here, and then we can dive into some of the features and then some of the cool things you can do with the features.
Absolutely. So guys, just by default, if we're looking up top here, we have our deals section here. And this will take us right into our deals page. And as Lee said, it kind of has that Trello look to it. You have your card basis and you can see everything kind of at a glance here, which is really great. And you also have the ability to kind of move these cards through these deals too, these different deal stages. So you can keep track of them accordingly. I really love this view because instead of we can add this on each lead profile, but to be able to see it from an outside view and see all of your deals in one place is super helpful.
And I know people are going to ask, so let's go ahead and tackle it. If it's an agent on your team, they're only going to see deals that they're on.
You're absolutely right.
People have concerns sometimes. They can see everything.
Yeah. So if we were logged in, if we were April, for example, we'd only be seeing April's deals in here. And that's exactly what you said, Lee. What the agents are going to see is only their deals that they enter into the system. The other cool part about it, though, is when you are an owner or you are an administrator, you do have that ability to see all of the deals that are in your system at one time, in addition to getting reporting, which I'm sure we'll dive into here soon as well.
Yeah, for sure. Great. You want to dive into maybe more of the details of each card now? Or?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. So we'll just start real quick. So we have our different stages here. And guys, just know that there's some basic ones in here, but you guys at the owner level can actually come in and customize these stages. So if we had one in between here, we could add a new stage here. I just want to show you that. Maybe one of those is showing homes or something like that, okay? And then we can actually organize these to where we want them. And what's really neat is we can move through them, and then we can also click into them to see all the different details that are involved. So do you want me to just kind of dive in with the different stuff here, Lee? Is that cool?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. So off the start, we can see, which pipeline we're in. So we have our buyers pipeline here. And let me just kind of back up. We have more than one pipeline. So you can have your buyers here. We have our sellers here. And how I mentioned earlier about recruiting, you can also add additional pipelines in here as well, to gain additional tabs here. But we'll stick with buyers for now. And as we go into each card, we're seeing, which pipeline it's in. You can choose which stage it's in. And all this is accessible in the lead profile. We'll show that here as well. We can add the price here, the close date, commissions. We also have splits. So if you guys are on a specific split with your agents, or maybe I've seen some teams use this for like their brokerage fee or something like that, their admin fee or whatnot, they'll pop that in there too. You have the people involved, so it ties in the client. That way, when you're coming in here, you can actually go right to that client's page by clicking into it. As well as our team members here. So obviously, you're going to have yourself on here. But say you are kind of double siding one of these deals, maybe you have the listing and the buyer and you're both on the same team, you could add that other team member in here as well, so that they're on this, and when they're tracking, they're able to see it as well. Description is just kind of a text field here. And then what's really neat are these custom fields, which I want to dive into, that can be added. So by default, guys, I don't believe we have any in here, but
Right.
I've seen a lot of teams use this in the sense of being able to just, when the admins come in here, they can see something. For example, was the inspection completed? We can put a drop-down menu in there that says yes or no and save that. That way, when your admins or TCs, or maybe you do all this yourself as a solo agent, see this stuff, you have that heads up like, hey, yes, that was already done. The other really neat thing about these is we have these date ones. So say like appraisal due date was, let's say right before the end of October here. One, we have this date in here. Two, we can actually have this populate on your Follow Up Boss calendar, which is super cool. Just really neat that we have these custom fields built in. I've seen some teams with 10 to 20 of these to kind of keep track of this stuff, but it's just very helpful to kind of center in on these deals. Last thing you have here, guys, is just your files where you can upload files. So maybe you have a pre-qualification letter or an inspection report you want to keep with the deal or something. You could pop that right into here under your file section.
Yeah, and adding a link there too, I want to mention that super quick, because if you're already using a system, something that, like where you are like, well, we do all this in Google Drive for our docs. Okay, great. You can link to the entire folder here with all the docs in it. You can link to just that particular doc. There's a lot you can do with this.
It really
but it's
is.
like everything else. I think sometimes people are a little timid to go in and poke around. And I always just say, like, you're not going to break this. So just
I say that too.
try it. Yeah, you might mess it up a little bit, but you're also going to learn in the process of doing it. There's pretty much nothing that you can't kind of fix, or even if it's something you're not going to use, delete or not use in the future. But yeah, it's a really, really cool feature there. And somebody just asked a really good question, very specific to this, about actually, let me hop in to make sure I read it right. But I think it's something about files in here connected to the client profile. Are the files only in the deal, or are they also going to be tied to the client's profile?
That I don't know, but I tell you what, we can find out real quick.
I don't know either, but Caroline is there. So she just said they live in the deal card, but you'll see in the deal profile.
Okay, gotcha.
So they are separate, but again, bear that in mind for your strategy. If it's something not tied to the deal, but tied to the client, put it in files in the client record.
Absolutely.
If it's tied to this deal in particular, and
put it in the deal card.
Yeah, they could be the same thing, or they could overlap a little bit, but yeah, ease of access. That's a great question.
Absolutely. We had another question in there that said where to add those custom fields. So we might as well show that while we're in here. Yeah. And again, guys, the stage editing and what we're doing here with the custom fields, this is only from the owner level account. So any of you solo agents out there, you can go in, but you may have to, if you're on a team, may have to contact an administrator to get in here. But up here, we have this cog, and I'll just kind of zoom in, guys. So next to your pipelines, you have this little cog here. All right. And when we click that, that is going to bring in, one, our different pipelines, and two, our different custom fields that we can add. So, for example, and this is a great kind of segue into this, if we want to add a specific custom field, we can hit that blue button. We can title that. Maybe that is, throw something at me, Lee.
Well, let's do a date so we can show the example of that. So even if we've already got it, I think, exactly.
Say it's the appraisal due date, okay? So you have some options here. We title it, and then we figure out what that is. Do we want to fill that in with text? Do we want that to be a date field? Or do we want that to be a number field or a drop-down menu like I showed on the inspection completed, yes or no? So this one.
Dane, let's stay on that for a quick second though.
Yeah.
Because the drop-downs could be great things if you really, and we're gonna go here in a minute and explain this better. The data that's put in these can also be manipulated, found, used in a variety of ways. Like you said, putting it on your calendar, potentially building a smart list that says, hey, this date's approaching, something to that effect. But you've got to give it the right type of data to do that. So if it's a dropdown is a great thing for who's the TC on this?
Yes,
because then there's not misspellings. It's like pick Susie as your TC. But if somebody spells her name wrong or puts a space or puts her name, first name, last name, building these out can prevent a lot of errors and spelling or creating a bunch of different things. Plus, 100%. Then you can say, show me all the deals that Susie has and get to just those deals. But again, if they're different formats, you won't find it. The number
Yeah.
format, you can say like greater than, less than, show me all my closings over this amount, or which commission is over 10,000 and which is under. Date, we kind of mentioned, but that's somewhat self-explanatory. And then text is great for letting people type stuff in, but it's not really searchable
Correct.
so much. So good for info, but you can't really work backwards into that data.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And one thing that you kind of just made me think of is I've seen a team do this where, you know, they have certain seats in their account and maybe they'll have a lender in there, but maybe there's other agents on the team that use other lenders. So a lot of the times they'll create this lender drop-down menu and have a lot of those different lenders that they use, so that the agent or the admin or TC or whoever can come in here and quickly grab that and just select which lender's on it, so they can always look back and kind of see that too.
Yeah, that's great. I love that
Yeah.
so much.
Yep. Very good. And then with the date field, like you were saying, that's trackable, which is super great. I love being able to see that, especially it pops up on the calendar there. You can add that to your FUB calendar. I don't know if it makes sense. You want me to kind of pop over there and show that real quick?
Yeah, I think so. And also, for what it's worth, we're going to get in a little bit later to more of the reporting and the archiving and all that. So we'll definitely tackle that. But yeah, I'd love for you to show it on the calendar.
Yep. So guys, if we travel to the calendar here up top, if we go over to our filters, you'll notice down at the bottom, we now have these deal custom dates. So if there's certain ones you want to see or certain ones you don't want to see, you can go ahead and select them there, and then those will populate on here. If you're owner or admin, you're going to be able to see this for the entire team and all of their deal custom dates on there as well.
Yeah, that's really handy. And then obviously we kind of said this, but just to be super clear, if your Outlook or Google are connected, these events are going to be on that calendar for essentially whoever. I believe it's for whoever is on the deal card, right? Can they all see it?
I believe so. Yeah. So all of the clients and the team members that are on there who have their calendars connected. Yes.
Perfect. So yeah, again, a little bit of a thing where, you know, maybe just try a few of these. I think sometimes people feel like they have to figure all the ones out before they use them, and just adding closing date to start, or a few key contingency type of things, or that lender thing. That's a great way to start.
Definitely.
And then as you use it, you're going to go, oh, it'd be great.
Yeah, tailor it more to your business. Absolutely. Yes. Awesome.
So yeah, and again, just to remind people, I think some people hopped on a little bit late. The only person that can edit this, if you don't have that cog, the owner account is the only person that can edit these. So if you don't see that cog, just talk to whoever on your team potentially is the owner account. As far as adding or editing the pipelines and the deal custom fields.
Absolutely. And I guess while we're in here, might as well just show them, guys, just like our custom fields here. If you want to add that pipeline in here, you add that pipeline, you hit that pipeline button, and you can say something like recruiting or something like that. And then that will create that whole new one there. And then we can start adding stages from there and start using it from there.
Zane, let's do either make one or look back at what the closed checkbox does, because that's pretty important for reporting. And again, we'll go deeper on reporting in a little bit, but just that's one other important feature of these deal stages.
Sure. Yep. And you're saying the close when they move to this one here, the stage?
Right, exactly. So the name of it doesn't matter as much as the
I see.
when you're says this means closed.
Right. Yep. So like if there was, and I think it's just on the closed stage, but what that is that's where it starts actually saving that as closed volume. Like this is what's closed in the system. So in our reporting, we're going to be able to see that there.
That's great. Very cool.
Yep.
And then obviously the color coding can be handy. I'm kind of nerdy with my color coding. So.
Oh, I know. I was trying to match it when I was adding some in here. I was like, oh, I see he's going up this way. So
can't help it.
We could go ahead and here, we'll get rid of this one. That way they kind of line up there. That's good.
Cool. That's great. Cool. I'm also checking to see if we have any other questions.
Absolutely.
Actually, both the current questions we haven't handled yet are coming soon. So we'll handle that. I mean, they're coming soon in our order of events. So
yep.
Cool. And then obviously we kind of talked about it, but I think just to show people how to move, that you're literally dragging and dropping, like, oh, great, this guy signs, oh, now they're under contract.
Now
They
they're
go to,
pending. Now they're closed. Yes, we can move them through them. But there's something really cool about when we do that is we can trigger, and it's a little more advanced, but we can trigger automations based on that. So say, for example, we're moving, okay, we're this fake Zane deal, we're a buyer agency signed, we're moving them into pending. This would trigger or could trigger a series of events to happen in your account, whether that's sending out specific emails from the agent to the client, or adding tasks to your TC's account inside of Follow Up Boss. There's a lot that can happen there. I think you
Dane,
have one on
I think we
pending,
could hop
right?
into that. I think we could hop into that super quick without going too deep.
Okay. With respect to like the automation that happens with that?
Yeah, just the
Sure.
look at the trigger real quick, and then the fact,
Yeah.
I mean, you can say, oh, when it changes, when the deal stage changes to
Yeah.
this and this, or this or this or whatever,
Yeah.
do an action
So
plan, make a
guys,
note.
yeah, if we go into admin and automations, we can talk about the trigger first. But one of your options when you're creating these automations is changing your deal stage or when it is changed. So, for example, if we're changing it into that pending deal stage, and we could have some conditions on here if we want to too, but then we could run a specific action plan. So, for example, like I built one in here, pending buyer admin tasks, you know what I mean? And we can have this run once per person. But when this is turned on, and let's go back to our deals section here. When we would move fake Zane over to pending, that would trigger a series of things to happen. So if we go into the fake Zane lead, we'll probably see that that action plan is running. It's run right now. It looks like yours ran too. But what's happening here, let's go take a peek at this. And I don't mean to hop all over the place, but this is kind of what we built out. So we're saying when we move it to the deal stage of pending, we're also going to change the stage of the lead to pending so that that's already done for us. We're going to send an email out, an admin team intro, letting them know who's on our team and who they can reach and access during this process. And then also some tasks for our admins here to maybe call and set up inspections, send the ratified contract over to the lender and over to title as well. And all of that stuff's happening immediately. Now, this is just kind of like a base level. I've seen teams where they build this out for days. I mean, there's all kinds of different things that happen and can trigger off of certain deals, or I'm sorry, certain dates that pertain to those deals and those custom fields there. So if we go back,
not to get too crazy,
yeah,
the custom fields, I believe the deal custom fields as well, also can be merge codes. So you can actually send an email that says, congratulations, you're under contract. Here's some pertinent dates. Merge code equals closing date. Merge code equals appraisal contingency. Merge code equals, due diligence or inspection period.
Yep. No, I love that. That's awesome. But that there, so if we actually go back and look at that lead now, look what happened here. So I just said that Lee was the admin here, but when I was building this, but look, we have tasks now for the admin to come in and complete for this lead. We'll know if they're completing it by coming in and check marking those off. So the agent can come back here and make sure that stuff's being taken care of, if that's what they're doing, or the TC, that's what they do. They come in and make sure this is done. So that's just a really good way. And then Lee, you would have been notified of all these too. So those would all pop up in your notifications there that, hey, these need completed for this. So really great when you have your agents kind of putting in these deals and moving them between them. It can really trigger these things and help automate a lot for your TCs and your admins.
Absolutely. I love it. Do we need, do we want to hop back here? If we have more to cover here, great. If not, we can also hop into reporting, whatever you think is best next.
Yeah, I want to share two things. So you guys will notice as we're hovering over them, there's this little archive button. So say something was to, let me see if I can zoom in here, little archive button right there. But say maybe something was to fall through with this, or, this is no longer happening. We can archive that deal. It'll take it out of our view here. And just so you guys know, we're able to see that up at the top right-hand corner here, we have this current deals. We can always go back and take a peek at anything that we've archived before. So you're able to see those there as well. That was one thing. And then I think that's probably good for this section, unless you see anything in the chat that we want to hop into.
I'm sure we'll hop back to this at some point. So okay. I think we can press ahead, and I'm sure we'll have some good questions or think of things as we dig in the reporting to come back and edit.
Awesome. So yeah, next spot, just like you were saying, Lee, hopping into reporting. So yes, we're entering all this information here, our sales prices, our commissions and things like that. but then it also tracks all of this in our reporting section. So up top here, we have our deal reporting button. You can access this from the regular reporting button too, but this is just a nice quick way to get to it. And then it gives us granular details on all of our different deals in the system. So it breaks it down into kind of a spreadsheet here, if you will, showing you your different stages. We can sort them by, closed, pending, and things like that too. We can see the status of them, if they're active, if they're archived, and things like that. How long they've been in that stage, when they're supposed to close, our price, our commission, everyone involved. It just really gives you all that neat little information right here for you. And then up here, we have that graphed data as well, and our totals too. And you guys can break this down. So you can do this on your current deals, your archive deals. You can do it between certain sources in your system if you want to break it down that way. You can also check this for specific teams or specific team members if you want to break it down in that sense. So that's a great way to do it. You also have your different pipelines here. So if we want to see our buyer or our seller's pipeline, we can see both of those. And then something new that maybe some of you are noticing, we just released this for everyone, but we now have this export button here. So you guys can now export, and it asks you which columns you want to export, but you can export all of your deal data and have that on a spreadsheet for you there. Cool.
That's really great. One quick thing to mention, this is jumping around a little bit as well, but I know a lot of people use platforms like a Sisu or an open to close or a RealScale where this is also aligned with another system. So just another thing to kind of ponder as far as keeping them congruent in certain things. So if you want to measure, well, how many deals does so-and-so have upcoming, or even the sources on the sheet. So you could even say, hey, how many deals do we have from Zillow or from our Sphere or from wherever? So it's really a powerful tool overall in your business as well to be able to get a quick look at like, oh, well, Agent Bobby seems to be closing more realtor.com and somebody else is closing more Sphere. So you can really use this as a powerful tool overall to even back into like, where is my marketing dollar? What marketing dollar is turning into money, and which money, and by who, and how much should we make off it, and all that good stuff.
And I'll be honest, I've seen a few teams where they kind of stray away from Sisu and come back to this deal because we're evolving this ever often and so much. They're coming back to this and using it. Sisu is a great program, but if you don't need to get that granular, or you don't get that granular, I see a lot of teams find success using the deal section right in FollowUp, so it's all in one place there. But we do integrate very nicely with Sisu and a lot of those other programs.
Yeah, and one more super quick thing I just want to mention as well is, even if you're not doing that right now, if you're just not in a spot where like, hey, I'm just running with my head cut off trying to figure all this out, inputting this though, as you are doing the deals now, even if you're not leveraging it, is going to start to give you that historical where you can say, oh, well, last year we had this versus this year. So even if you're not like excited by nerding out on this and making all the things and figuring out all the things, just starting to get some key info in here is going to pay dividends down the road when you want to go back and kind of compare year over year and all those sort of things.
Absolutely. And one thing I want to say, I don't know if we touched on this, but all the different places that you can add a deal, I think that would be good to touch on. So guys, we can do that right from here. If you're an admin in the system, you're coming in, or solo agent, you can add a deal right from here. You can also do that from the deals page. We can just start a brand new deal in here as well, per the stage it's on. And then the other place we can do that is actually in a lead itself. So on the right-hand side here, you will have this deal section here. So if you're working through prospecting, doing things like that, and you know, hey, we're under contract with this person, let's get this deal put in here. We can do that right here in the lead profile as well. And it's going to bring in that lead and all that information there. We can fill this out, hit create deal, and it'll pop up on our nice little Trello view there in the deals section.
Awesome. That's great. That's all really good stuff. I'm going to check our notes super quick and see. Yeah, I think if you want, Zane, I think it makes sense for us to hop into the smart list type of thing, like using some of this data. A few people have kind of asked about like, hey, what if I want to email all my people under contract or all my people at a certain
Absolutely
price point or whatever?
Yeah. So the neat thing is a lot of these deal fields, they come up in where we create smart lists here. So for example, if we go over to filters and we're creating a new list, we can actually start searching by deal, and we can build out and see things per, say we want to see everything that's in our pending right now. Okay. And then we can get more granular and adjust this to a certain view. I've actually put one together and I named it pending deals. But this one here is just going to show you any of your deals that are in pending or under contract per what we've built here. But I've kind of adjusted this. I've added these columns in here so you can see those different deal stages, the prices involved, when they're supposed to close, if there's any tasks on here as well, and the last communication with it, in addition to the agent that's assigned to it. Well, for an admin or an owner or a solo agent, this is great to be able to come in and just see this here and just have a quick glance. Or like you said, if we want to contact them all, hey, something's been delayed, da 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 da, let's let them know. Or hey, make sure you don't go buy a new car and mess up your financing or something like that, whatever's clever, really.
Yeah, that's great. That's really good. And I think, Zane, if you don't mind, let's hop into the managed list section real quick, just to show the idea that we could potentially share this smart list only with an admin or a TC, or if ownership wants to see it and somebody else wants to see it, you can control those smart lists. So maybe you're not worried about your agents having a pending deal smart list, but you can select here under manage and then that particular list, hey, these guys need to see this list and these other guys don't. They should work
Exactly.
their conversion smart list,
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'd probably reserve that more for, I mean, you probably could create a generic one for your agents so they can see just theirs. Because again, they're only going to see what they're assigned to, especially when it comes to the deal section. But this is really great for, again, seeing that data if you're an admin or a TC or something like that, or the owner, and being able to see it very quickly. But I like the idea of both, having almost an admin one and one for agents as well. So they can come in, hey, here's all of my pending deals. I can quickly view them on this smart list here.
Right. And to your point, saving the smart list is also saving these columns that you've reordered and added here.
Yes.
So that's a great point. Maybe it is that the agent ones don't need all the next task if you have a TC team, but they just, we can't forget our under contract people. Like, as fun as it is to get new leads, like these are kind of important.
Exactly. No, very well said. Very good point.
Cool. This is great. I love this. I've only just started kind of diving into using this way. And I really, it's really powerful. And you showed it, but let's reiterate a little bit too, that you can still click on deal price and sort by deal price, or only people over, again, because we gave the right type of data now as a number, we can sort it as a number and say, show me highest to lowest, show me everything over this, or
what's closing
this.
sooner. Yeah, absolutely. Or ones that have a new task that's due right now. You know what I mean? So it's great to be able to organize that and have that kind of functionality here of how we want to see it. 100%.
And I don't want to get too crazy on it, but another tactical thing I just thought about, if you don't have a TC, or if you have a TC that is aiding the agent in doing some of this, using things like @mentions in here to go, oh, look, there's a task that the agent hasn't done yet. TC come in here and say, hey, Bruce, like, did you get that pre-approval letter, or did you, Bruce is the client. So, hey, agent, did you call
did you get
person?
That for Bruce?
So, but again, just kind of living in the system. And then all these things are also in this record. So you can see the tasks and who they're assigned to. You can see that, oh, great, my TC did follow up with the agent and remind them to get that pre-approval letter, or get that, CD to over before closing, and that sort of stuff.
Absolutely. Good stuff.
I've got a couple of quick notes I want to check. So, okay, so we did that. We covered, somebody had a great question. I think it just makes sense to mention because it may be applicable to other people. Caroline answered it in the chat, but just to go a little deeper, like things like adding lenders to a card. And there's obviously a couple ways you can do it. If they're a lender in your system, meaning they're in Follow Up Boss as a user, you can certainly add them to the card. They can be the lender on that contact record, which will, similar to an agent, allow them only to see the contacts assigned to them. So that you'd be able to do here. That would be under team. But if they're not in your system and you're more so just notating like, oh, this is the lender, let me remember to do that, that's the deal custom field. We didn't save it. We were fooling around kind of building one, but just the idea of like, oh, Joe is the lender on this one, and we can drill down to all the deals that Joe has with us, or, oh, who is the lender on that, instead of moving
Right.
around or searching through the notes or checking
Being able to
background.
pop in and see it
Right.
100%. Yeah. And having that data, knowing who's on it. Because that's what was important for the team that I have that was doing that. Because we didn't have that many seats in there, and maybe that's just because of price or whatnot. Or just having additional lenders that don't live in the system. We want to be able to track, which ones we're closing deals with and stuff. That is important. So
Absolutely. Yeah, I love that. I love these new ads, and I'm always kind of delicate saying this, but you guys roll out a lot of things,
a lot
and
every day.
sometimes it's I love that they just roll out and then we can start to use them. And then I know what you guys do is you use people's feedback, go, oh yeah, we can do that's easy enough
Yes.
to add. So two quick things on this. Number one,
Hmm.
certainly it's always evolving. Like the custom fields, like as you mentioned, weren't there. The splits weren't there before.
Right.
That's all newer.
Hmm.
But I wanted super quick, Zane, if you can click on the question mark. I always try to mention roadmap as well in this.
Yep.
If you have a use case for this, or if you're like, man, it'd be really great if we could have this feature or add this thing, place it on the roadmap, because this is literally where the product team actually looks when they're looking at new features. And the more detail you can give, the better. Just kind of explain, like, if we had this, then we could do this. And then the team can say, oh yeah, that's everyone needs that, instead of something where it's like, oh, well, that's neat for you, but not everybody would need that.
Hmm.
But this is really fantastic place. It's also a fantastic place to just look and see if
What's
somebody
going
else has
on?
already said, like, hey, that's happening, or yeah, this is coming.
Yep.
Because there is a working on and a launched section as well. So I always get excited about this, because people post in the Facebook group like, we should be able to do this.
Hmm.
But this is where the product team will actually look and say, oh, that's a great idea. We'll put that
Yeah.
in.
It's a great practice to come in here and add those when those come up. Anytime I'm on calls with a lot of my teams, I'll always advise them to go in and put that, or we'll put it in together. And I also can put it in on kind of our back end and kind of push it on multiple fronts here, because guys, that's what we are looking for, is that customer feedback. We're very customer focused, and we're making changes for you guys every day. So it's really good to have that feedback. If you guys are in here and seeing ones that are under consideration, you're like, oh my gosh, I've always wanted to manually log a text. Come in here and hit that critical button and help us get those upvotes here, because that is what our dev team looks at when they're making these changes and kind of making, ordering that of importance. What is everyone asking for? So no, that's great that you pointed that out, Lee. I appreciate that.
Awesome. Absolutely. I think I'm trying to think if there's anything else high level. Like, I know there's 100 more things we could do and use cases, but I
Hold
feel
on,
like,
we
oh
forgot one.
yeah. Oh,
The leaderboard.
uh,
So guys, we have our activity leaderboard, but if you hit up here, we actually have a deals leaderboard as well. Lee, you can thank me later. I put in one over 5 million, so you're above Caroline.
yes.
But this is showing guys your closed deals and commissions and things like that, and just kind of lays it out for you. One total as a group, and then kind of individually as well. So this is just something neat that's kind of built in here for some internal camaraderie. I have a lot of teams that like to pop this up, full screen it, put it on a TV in the office or something like that. Just neat that we have the ability for one, our communication and what we're doing in the system, and then also the deals and how it's transpiring to those closed deals and stuff like that.
Zane, let's take a quick look though at the all pipelines and everyone drop down, as well as the excluding people.
Yeah, absolutely. So by default, it's going to be showing both your pipelines of buyers, sellers. If we have recruiting in there or anything else, it's going to show them. But we can get into just buyers or just sellers. We can also break this down between teams. So if you're on platform and you have different teams in different areas and stuff, you could break it down that way. And we can also exclude agents as well. So if we didn't want to see, how great Lee is doing here, we could take Lee out of here and leave, if you have some of those people in there that you don't want to show theirs, you can remove them or add them just like that. And then we can also, last thing, kind of change that time frame too. So if we want to see just what's going on this month, hey, we haven't closed any deals this month, but you can adjust that date there, and you can also put in custom dates as well, which is great.
Yeah, that's really fantastic. I mean, this talk about a built-in agent one-on-one tool or a team
Hmm.
meeting, tool. Hey, look, so and so did this. Hey, like Caroline, where did that deal come from? Like, what did you
Right.
do to get that? So, again, to your point, Zane, it's not so much like, haha, look at this, someone's got more than you. It's like,
Right.
tell us how you got more of these people under contract. Were they different leads? Are you doing a lot of phone prospecting? Like, how did this
And a
happen?
lot of times, Lee, I bet that would correlate with the activity leaderboard,
Right,
how much they're calling, texting,
right.
emailing, scheduling appointments with their clients. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Usually directly correlates to those closed deals. So,
Yeah. So more of a motivation than a like, look, someone
yeah,
is beating you. It's like, no, no, no. Like, what are they doing so well that is, I have
yeah.
no idea how there's 12,000. This must be
And
connected to my real email or something.
yeah, right. To your point with this, though, like I've seen a lot of teams use this for internal camaraderie. They have those rock star agents, and all the other agents are asking them, "Hey, how are you doing this?" I'm using the system, and it's a great way to kind of hone in on agent adoption and stuff like that, and really leveraging the system and showing those that they're closing deals because of it. So it's a really great tool in that manner as well.
Awesome. I love it. Is there anything else, Zane, to take us out? Anything we didn't cover? I think all the questions have been answered. Um, I don't, if you want to take us out or show us something else, we'll go there.
I wanted to. There's all these really great things coming, so but I got to keep my lips sealed on that. But there's a lot of really cool tools, guys, and we're constantly evolving the system and everything like that. And really, Lee, I just greatly appreciate this opportunity. Like I said, I've been a longtime fan of the show, so super happy to be on here and grateful to be on here and have this experience and help all of our FUB communities. So love
Awesome.
it.
Well, I feel strongly that we're going to have a part 2 of this and we can dig in a little deeper.
Woo!
So will
I
you
love
guys,
it.
and I email out the recording to everybody. So if you have thoughts or something you didn't cover, you're welcome to reply to that and I'll drop that in a note. So Zane and I will definitely cover it next time.
Awesome.
Awesome. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you on the next office hours.
See y'all.